Hey guys, welcome back to the Genesis Podcast. I'm Shane Smith, the owner of Genesis Offroad. In this show, we're going to be answering your questions about our products to help you get the most out of your Genesis Offroad systems and just talk about what's going on around the shop and around the industry, get you guys an update on what we're doing around here. So as always, I've got with me Mr. Brad Chester, our marketing guy. Hey, Brad.
Hey, everybody.
So Brad, what are we going to be talking about in today's episode?
Yeah, so I thought we would do things a little bit different since we just got back in town from the Overland Expo East. So I figured we might give them a little bit of recap, what we thought about the show.
Yeah.
What we saw out there that we really liked, and then what we were introducing at the show.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good, man. So we were out at Overland Expo East in Arrington, Virginia over the weekend. So you guys check out the last podcast where we did live from the show out there where we're showing off a couple of our new products, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this was probably our fifth or sixth time doing the Overland East event. We've been out there since 2014 timeframe. That's one of my favorite shows. You know, the Overland Expo events they're just great. They're such cool people. The best part about it is the people out there, I think, you know, they're smart, they're well educated, they ask smart questions. You know, the Overland guys are cool because they come by our booth, and even the ones that haven't heard about us or our dual battery systems yet, they come by and they want to know all about it. They were like, hey, what is this thing? Tell me what you're doing here. And we go through this year we went through our whole explanation on the Gen 3 system, how it uses the alternator to charge the batteries. And then we would show them the Omega system that uses the Red Arc charger to charge your auxiliary battery. And they ask really good questions. They want to know all about it. You know, we don't do a whole lot of sales at the event. We don't push a whole lot of product like some vendors do, because I think our type of customers are the guys who want to learn all about it. And then after the show, they go back and they read through our website. They watch our install videos. They read our reviews. They'll ask about us on the forums, and then they'll come back and buy it 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed too, like, we just have one of those products that we don't have a lot of competitors out there doing exactly what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we say we do dual battery systems that are plug and play, it's almost like, wait, that seems too easy to do. Like, I'm walking around the show and I'm seeing all of these very complex, power systems in the back of these rigs.
Yeah.
How do I do that? And so I think when they come to our booth, they're like, this is really cool. Like, this is great. But what about, I would talk to several of them and they're running like a F-150 or F-250 or a Dodge Ram or, a camper van or something like that.
Yeah.
So for those guys that didn't have specific products, do you want to walk them through what we were showing them?
Yeah. So for all those guys, Overland Expo is not a Jeep show. It's not a Toyota show. I mean, there's a little bit of everything out there. We saw G-Wagons pulling much bigger camper trailers than I would have pulled behind a G-Wagon, and just everything you can imagine. So there's 4Runners, there's old Land Cruisers, there's older vehicles, there's vans. So obviously we can't make a vehicle specific kit for every vehicle out there, right? So over the years, we've had people say, hey, have you got something for my 80 series Land Cruiser or my old F-150, right? And in the past, we had the universal dual battery system that was just a basic tray that held two batteries and the power hub on top. And that was great, but people just had to work to figure out how to get that installed in the vehicle. And what we saw over the years was, if they've got to think about how to get it in the vehicle, they just don't. So we wanted to rethink what we were doing and try to come up with an easier way to get the whole dual battery system in there. So that was the JuiceBox. So we kind of did a detailed walkthrough of the JuiceBox there at the show and talked about how it's a complete dual battery system in a box, a real dual battery system, not just another portable power station. Like, there's a bunch of good ones out there. There's a bunch of good portable power stations, right? Jackery and Blue Eddy and EcoFlow, and there's a bunch of them. But we wanted to do something that was not just a portable battery box. This is a real dual battery system, completely self-contained, that you can hard mount into your vehicle and run a single cable back up to the cranking battery to tie it into the alternator to run the DC to DC charger to charge the lithium battery inside. So we showed that to a bunch of people over the weekend, and everybody was loving it. I mean, I was really blown away. I really was. I was just really taken aback by how much people loved the JuiceBox and
Yeah.
thought that would be just a great solution to just drop into their vehicle, bolt it down, run it back to the cranking battery, and you got a whole dual battery system that you can hardwire your accessories into.
Yeah. And that's kind of the funny part of, releasing a new product or having a prototype like this and taking it to a show is we want to take it there and get the feedback because
Yeah.
we think it's a great idea. We think it's super useful, but what does the consumer think? What do these guys that are going to be using it, are they going to actually buy this thing or are they going to say, that's a good idea, but I like my setup better?
Right. This is a good idea, but
Right.
yeah, we didn't hear a whole lot of that, did we?
We didn't, which was super encouraging, like you were saying.
Yeah, one of the buts that we heard was, this is great, but I'd like to have a bigger battery capacity.
Yeah.
So especially, we heard that a lot from some of the guys that are running bigger vehicles like Sprinter vans. And those guys have room for more electrical stuff like microwaves and larger refrigerators and more camping gear, stove equipment, cooking equipment, that kind of thing. So those guys were asking us for, hey, this is great, but 100 amp hours in this package isn't quite enough for me. Can you get me 200 or 300 amp hours? So, yeah, like you said, it was great to get that feedback. In the past, we would just take a new product and show it off and say, here's a thing that we developed and hope people would buy it. So this time we wanted to just take our first prototype out there and just show people, hey, this is what we came up with. What do you think about it? And get that feedback. So we got a lot of great feedback. So I got some ideas on how we can tweak it a little bit with the packaging and just making it easier to install and easier to add your accessories into it. And we might do a small, medium, large package. We might try to do a kit around 100 amp hours, 200 or 300 amp hours to give people that flexibility of, picking what size they need to run their vehicle.
Yeah. And that's, will reach different levels of your budget also. Like if you have a bigger budget and you can afford it, then like that bigger battery is going to serve a bigger purpose versus like the 100. But it's not like the 100 is a small battery any means of the imagination.
Yeah, that's still a lot of power, especially for the smaller vehicles like, the Jeeps and the Toyotas that we've been supporting for a long time. 100 amp hours will run a lot of stuff in that vehicle. But you get up in the bigger vehicles like the Sprinter vans and the bigger expedition vehicles, they're just running a lot more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, going back to the show in general, I saw the email come through from Overland Expo East. That was like 14,000, attendees. That seems like a pretty on par, number with their past attendance. I think it's gone down just a little bit, but it's nothing dramatic. It's not like there's thousands of people not coming anymore. But it also said that 50% of them were new.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard rumblings across the internet too of people opining and saying that, overlanding is kind of a fad and going away. I don't see that at all. I don't see it at all. I think the Overland Expo East show peaked a couple of years ago at about 15,000. Last year, they were at about 14,500. This year, they're at 14,000. So, on paper, it looks like it's declining, right? But actually, over the past couple of years, they added a couple of events. They've got the new Mountain West event in Colorado. They got SoCal in Costa Mesa, California. And they said in their recap email that they were bringing people from 48 states all the way to the East Coast for Overland East.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So I think what we might be seeing is the extra events might be splitting up the crowd. You might be splitting the crowd across, new events. And it looks like the attendance is down a little bit, but people are going to different events all over the country. But I think overall it's growing. I look at the camping site, the event was inside of that racetrack and people were camped all around the exterior of the racetrack area. And I noticed the camping setups looked way more elaborate. People got better quality gear. So if people are enjoying this lifestyle, this overlanding lifestyle, they're enjoying getting out there and using their vehicles and they're investing in it,
Right.
And I mean, you don't have to, it's not that, we're not saying you have to go spend a bunch of money on gear to go out there and enjoy your vehicle, but people like it and they want to spend the money on the gear. And all the campground setups looked amazing. So people are continuing to invest in their vehicles and their setups and their gear, so they can go down and have some fun.
Yeah. Well, and then speaking to the vendor side, right? There was 225 vendors that were there, as opposed to like, West is the biggest show, Overland Expo West, and it has 400 plus vendors. But I don't think that 225 is a small number for vendors, because that means that these 14,000 people can actually go and talk to all of these companies. Versus West, it's sometimes overwhelming.
It is.
By how big it is, that consumers are kind of like, I can't make it to, or I can't have all the quality conversations I want to, because there's just too many.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we went to Overland West last year, and there was that event draws in, about 28,000 people, 28 to 30,000.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people there at the fairgrounds. And, it is crowded. The event is very spread out west, and, you really need 3 days to go see everything. You can walk up and down the aisles, and you got to look at your map and see, where have I missed? Where do I need to go and see everything? But also speaking of the vendors for the East Show, this past weekend there was 2 other big events. We had Offroad Expo in Costa Mesa.
Oh, yeah,
that's a big show, and then we also had the Trail Hero event in Hurricane, Utah. That's really popular. So some of the West Coast vendors, had their setups out there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good that that all the attendees can come by and have good quality conversations with everybody.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But I think overall it was a great show. Beautiful weather.
Man, you can't get any better on the weather. Thank goodness, too. Thank goodness. I was just saying, statistically speaking, Overland Expo was due for some perfect weather.
Yeah.
Because it has been just plagued with bad weather in years past. When we've been going since 2014. And, one year there was hurricanes, and one year it was just cold and sleeting on us. And I don't know, it just seems like they always have bad weather. But this year was just absolutely perfect.
That's because it was my first year.
Yeah.
The weather really wanted to cooperate for me.
Yeah, we want to make it a nice experience for you.
That's right. And it was a great experience. So another thing that, people, coming by the booth, one of the most common questions I think we got about our Gen 3 or our Omega systems was solar. So to a lot of the Overland guys, they're all running solar, or they're thinking about running solar. So that was, I think, the question that I answered the most out there is, can I hook up solar to our systems? Do you want to tell them how that works?
Yeah. So it's really easy to install solar panels on either one of our types of dual battery systems. On our Gen 3 kit, most people want to run solar panels so that they can run their accessories for as long as possible, so they don't have to crank up the engine and idle the engine to charge the batteries. So in that case, with our Gen 3 system, you'd have the solar panels go into some type of a solar charge controller, which is usually a little box that takes the power coming from the solar panels, and it looks at the batteries to see how much charge the batteries need. Because when the batteries are fully charged, the little charge controller will just turn off the solar panels. So you're not just cooking your batteries unnecessarily, right? You don't want to just keep pumping more and more power into the batteries if they're already full. So the little solar charge controller can go straight to the bus bars on the Gen 3 system. That way the solar goes into the accessory battery first, and if it can keep up with your demand and charge that battery up, then the power hub would link the batteries together so that solar would also flow into the cranking battery as well. Now, you can do it the other way. You can hook the solar charge controller directly to your cranking battery if you want to make sure that your cranking battery is always topped off. We got some of those customers that say, I had a problem one time where my cranking battery was dead and I couldn't go anywhere, and it was bad news. So they want to make sure that cranking battery is always topped off. That's fine too. You go straight to the cranking battery posts, and again, once that battery is full, the power hub links the batteries together and it'll flow over to the accessory battery as well. So that's all there is to it for the Gen 3 system. Now on the Omega system, we've got the Anderson port built right into the Omega lid. So you can go straight from the solar panels straight into the Omega lid with the Anderson connector. And then the Red Arc Alpha charger is your solar charge controller. It handles that internally. So it handles regulating the power and watching the voltages and charging the batteries properly.
And that'll be the same, on the JuiceBox. It has a port for the solar, same one that's on the Omega.
That's right.
Same style, same everything.
Yeah, that's right. The JuiceBox is basically the Omega system in a box.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So with as many people as, we're talking about solar, have we ever thought about offering solar panels on our website?
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about offering solar panels to our customers over the years. I think up to this point, there's been so many different ways of doing solar panels that you got the flexible ones that you can roll up and just put out on the grass and connect to the vehicle when you're stopped. You got some that can be hard mounted to the roof that are rigid. You got some that are sort of portable, but you open them up and they're rigid, but they unfold. You got the hood mounted style that we have on our JL now. That is almost like a decal. It's really thin. It goes on the hood of the vehicle. We've thought about offering some of those, but there's just so many different styles of solar panels that I haven't done it up to this point, just because we like to have a easy to install. Here's how we recommend doing it. And we support so many different vehicles that it's kind of hard to say what's the best way to do it for your vehicle. But now that we have the Omega system with the Anderson plug built right in, it might make sense for us to offer some solar panels that have that Anderson plug and just plugs right in, and now it's even easier. So I've been thinking about offering the style with that is a simple panel that goes on the hood and goes, the cable goes right through into the engine bay around the lip of the hood and just plugs right into the Omega system. So I'd actually like to get some feedback on that from our customers. Is that something that you guys would like to see from Genesis Off-Road? Would you guys like to buy solar panels that are compatible with the Omega system? If that's something that you would like to buy from us, let us know, and we can certainly look into offering that as a solution for you.
Yeah, that's right. Let us know in the comments down below or reach out, info@genesisoffroad.com. We love to hear feedback, or if there's another product that you're like, I feel like someone needs to do this thing. We try to stick with the power, the electrical, make it easy, plug and play. But if there's anything related to those that y'all are like, I want this thing, let us know. There's always a chance that we're open to that conversation.
Yeah, we love getting that feedback from our customers. We make it easy to install the auxiliary power, but there's things that go along with that, like our monitoring system, like our 12-volt outlets and the outlet boxes to give you extra power outlets in the back of the vehicle. Solar could be one of those too. If that's something that you want to see from us, let us know.
That's right. Well, if there's any other questions that you'll have about our products or anything else in general, comment down below. Like I said, email us, give us a call. Michael will help answer those questions if it's about our product. And then he'll pass them along to us and we can answer it here on the show. So another new thing that we had at the show was the Grenadier Omega system, right? You drove the Grenadier all the way from, our shop all the way the 11 and a half hours to Virginia. How was it?
Yeah, it was great. The Grenadier drove fantastic on the highway. We decided to do Overland East about 6 weeks or so ago. And when we decided we were going to go do that event, we said, it'd be a great opportunity to grab a Grenadier and do a dual battery system and launch that at Overland Expo. We had been planning on getting a Grenadier probably by the end of the year, but we were like, why don't we just take advantage of the opportunity and speed that up and get that launched? So we had a great reaction to that. Everybody loved what we were doing, especially since Ineos discontinued their option for the factory second battery. I call it a second battery. It's not a dual battery system like what we do. It's just auxiliary power to, I don't know what the thing even does. I talked to a bunch of people out there at the show. I've talked to Ineos. It's a little bit confusing. It's not a dual battery system in the sense that you're running your accessories off of that second battery so that they don't drain your cranking battery. That's how our system works. But the factory dual battery system was a little bit confusing to people. I think there was an expectation of how it would work, and that's not really how it worked. We talked to one dealer out there. The guy from Design Build Go was telling us about that. He works on a lot of Grenadiers, And he said that his customers had this expectation in their head that, hey, I've got a dual battery system in here. I can run all this stuff, and I can run my microwave and my coffee pot and my heating blanket, and I don't have to worry about a dead battery. And he was telling us that he has to start off his build process with kind of setting the expectation for the customer so that they're not disappointed when they get out there and start using this thing. Like, that's not a dual battery system. That's just a second battery for running the vehicle. Okay. So a lot of the Grenadier owners that came by our booth were really liking what we were doing. And, even some of them that had that auxiliary battery system in there were telling us, oh, this is much better. This is a much better way of doing it. I'll just rewire it, take out the stock stuff and put this in.
Yeah. And I know I talked to a lot of people that just are fans of the Grenadier. They didn't own one, but I felt kind of like a salesman for them by the end of the show, because it was like, wow, I really want to go get one now.
Yeah, so, we need to get set up with like an affiliate code, right?
Yeah, that would be great. So NES, reach out to us.
Yeah. So we also had a lot of people that came by like, what the heck is this thing? I think a lot of people still have never seen one, don't know what it is, and they were kind of shocked. Like, is this a Defender? This is not a Defender. What is this thing? So that was kind of fun. Yeah. It's still fairly new. It's only been out for a couple of years, but I feel like it's going to be growing tremendously. There's a lot of vendors that are already supporting it with lots of cool products. We talked to a bunch of them at the show. More and more new products are coming on the market every week. I see product announcements every week for the Grenadier stuff. So I think it's going to continue growing. It's going to be a popular vehicle. So we're going to try to get that kit into production, hopefully this week, and have that ready to ship this quarter before the end of 2025. So we actually got it live on the website, the customers can pre-order it now. Now that we have our prototype installed in our vehicle, you need to get to work on the pictures.
Okay.
And add some more pictures to the website.
All right, I'll get on that.
Yeah, we just put a little bit up there that we could in time for the show.
Right. Yeah, because you got it installed, like 2 nights before we left for the show?
Yeah, we got it all installed and test fit, and the first fitment was perfect. Everything lined up and fit on the first prototype.
Encouraging.
Which is great. I do have some ideas on some things I'm going to tweak just a little bit to make it even easier to install.
Okay.
But it's almost ready to go.
Cool. Well, I'll get right on that then. I got work to do.
Yeah. We
got to wrap up this episode.
Yeah, so check out our website for more details on the Grenadier kit. We don't have the JuiceBox on there just yet. It's not quite ready to put on the website, but keep an eye on us. We'll be telling you more details about how we're coming on that development effort in the future episodes of our podcast. We don't do any sponsorships on this show, so if you like this format, if you learned something today, please share the show with a friend. That really helps us out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll see our future episodes. Thanks for watching.